I'm Everlecia, and these are my 10 steps to becoming financially fit. So number one, you want to set an intention. And the reason why setting intention on this journey was so important for me, because I feel like there was a lot of things that I did not know how to do. But once I set the intention, it allowed God to bring the right people, books, workbooks in my life to allow me to move forward on this journey. So I encourage you to do that as well. Number two, you want to set a goal. The reason why you want to set one goal is because you do not want to overwhelm yourself. I realized that a lot of my inconsistencies over life was because I overwhelmed myself, and then when I got overwhelmed, I just stopped completely. So I just want you to do a goal so you can have a relaxed and cool, calm time on this journey. And then once you set a financial goal, the next step is the most important step, is to set a check-in date. The reason why the check-in date is going to allow you to set a date that you're going to check in, whether that's once a month, once a week, or once a day. And beyond just setting a date, you have to set an alarm, whether you set it on your phone or however you set your alarm. Set that alarm to remind yourself to check in with your finances. This is so important. Once you set that, the next step is you're going to figure out what's your after-tax income. The reason why I say this is because I know every time I used to get a new job, the first thing I did, you know how we do, we pull out that calculator, we start calculating. And then in my mind, I had that number before taxes. And that's the number I romanticized, and that's the number I was moving on. But I realized, that's not what we get because so much taxes and other things that we have to have pulled from our check. So once you get that after tax number, it allows you to move in a better frequency, more realistic frequency. I don't like that word, realistic, but it allows you to move on really what's going on. So once you have that number, you're able to better set yourself up when it comes to your actual budget. And so once you create that after tax income, the next step is just as important, which is to write down all of your expenses. Now that I look back and seeing like me being overwhelmed financially was because I really just honestly didn't know what was going on. I had an idea of what was going on, and I was keeping up as well as I could, but I didn't have an overall picture of what my expenses were. And I would realize that honestly I wasn't making enough to cover what I had, so I didn't have a choice but to follow this next step, number 6 step, which is to reduce expenses. I say reduce a expense to start out, whether it's canceling a subscription, whether it's calling your providers and figure out how ways you can save, especially if you've been with these providers for a long time. And I ask this, don't be intimidated. Like, don't talk yourself out of it before you try. I was very intimidated and felt like, okay, they're not gonna give me a discount. They're not gonna do this for me. But I made one commitment to myself, and that was to try to call, to have a conversation. And then it was so overwhelming how things really started working in my favor. Sometimes I could pretend call, but girl was persistent. So I encourage you to call those providers and find ways to reduce it. When you're looking for answers, you always find what you're looking for. And so once you reduce once you find what expense to reduce, you can work on more expenses, but the next step is actually to start paying your things that you finance bi-weekly. Bi-weekly is so important because, again, on most loans, interest is accumulated daily. So you want to be able to break the interest and break it down by paying bi-weekly. Like, for instance, I have a credit card right now. Your girl's about to take a trip for her birthday, so she had to put on a credit card. But back to it, I pay, instead of paying $300 at the end of the month, I pay $150 bi-weekly, so that at the end of the month the interest is lower because my average daily balance on that credit card was lower. So that's why I want to encourage you to start paying bi-weekly or weekly. Weekly actually works better if you can. It just depends on how you get paid. So once you start paying bi-weekly, then I got a cheat sheet right here, y'all. You want to do what's called the snowball debt. This changed my life when I discovered it, and it allowed me to take an overwhelming feeling that I had with having more debt than I had saved. And so this system is, you're going to write down all the debt you owe from highest to lowest. For that lowest one, you're going to pay the minimum, and the minimum for the rest. But on that lowest one, you're going to make extra payments. However extra you can make it, we're just going to, pile it on to that lowest loan until we pay it off. Once you pay off that lowest, you're going to take that minimum that you was paying for the lowest, and you're going to move it to the second lowest. So now you're going to add that to it until you pay that off and start chipping away at that one. You're just going to cross out those debts until you get to the top. And you just want to keep this simple system in place. Like, don't let it overwhelm you. Just do it just as much as you can. And I swear you're going to see magic if you stay consistent with it. And next, you want to, and I feel like a lot of financial people don't focus this. You want to figure out ways to increase your income. So if that's working an extra minute, extra few minutes every day, extra hour to increase your income, finding a new gig, finding ways to use your talents to make you money. Like when you looking for those things, God will bring those things to you. So I feel like I want you to focus on not just saving, but also increasing your income as well. So I'm always gonna preach that. And then lastly, small steps. Small steps towards that goal. Whether you want to save, okay, we're gonna save an extra 5, we're gonna save an extra 10. Like have those small goals to get towards your big goals. If you want to invest, let's set an investment goal, or let's get with a financial person, like set a small goal that you could work towards with getting closer to that big goal. If you want to pay off debt, like let's set an automatic payment to pay an extra 5, so it just automatically, you don't even have to think about it, have that debt being paid off of the extra payments that's already set up. Small goals is how we get to that big goal that we set earlier, and that's so important. And those are my 10 steps to becoming financially fit. My 10 steps to becoming financially fit, and I hope that they enrich you, and I hope that you enjoyed this video.